I clean up nice, don't I? So this is the vlog for March 3rd, um, 2015. No, 2018. I'm a little tired. I did this a little bit later than I meant to. Um, let's get the obvious thing out of the day, out of the way, before I misspeak again. I got my hair cut. I get my hair cut like I don't know why this thing thinks it's a good idea to give me updates in the middle of recording. You would think it would be smart enough not to make me notified of things while I've got the actual camera running. But no, that's Windows for you. If I sound a little tired, it's because after I got my hair cut, it just ended up being a beautiful day. I can't stress to anybody who watches these who doesn't live in Western Washington that it does rain quite a lot. It's not that it rains in great quantities, although it does. The average yearly rainfall is pretty high. It's not as high as you would think. Somebody once said that the thing about Washington rain is that the drops are very small. I don't know exactly how that gets measured, but I can say that the rain itself usually feels lighter than things like storms in the Midwest or thunderstorms in Florida, which I've had the joy of experiencing when I went to Walt Disney World back in 2005. That's a story for another time. Or did I already tell that story? Anyway. The rain here is very thin, but it's constant. In the winter, it just will rain every day. In fact, when I was a senior in high school, we broke the record for the number of days in a row where it rained. The previous record had been 90 days, and that year we went all the way to 95. So you just sort of get used to there being rain, especially in the winter. And conversely, summer around here tends to be pretty dry. In fact, it's been so dry that we've had trouble with wildfires. One thing to remember is that the Cascade Mountain Range separates western and eastern Washington. Don't know. This is mirrored, so if I go like west-east, that's probably backwards. So it should be west-east. This is west, this is east. Got it? Okay, cool. In the eastern side of the state, the rain doesn't fall very much at all. It's actually quite arid. Despite that, there's a lot of farming. A lot of food gets produced over on that side of the state, and a lot of it gets shipped over here. A lot of apples and pears, if I remember correctly. And a lot of livestock, a lot of farms out there. Over here, we get a lot of rain that comes up from the ocean, and then it sort of hits the Cascade Mountains and stops, preventing the eastern side from getting as much of the rain as we get. The Olympic Peninsula, which is not where the city of Olympia is located, just to be confusing. The Olympic Peninsula is considered a temperate rainforest, which means it gets as much rain as some places in the Amazon, but the temperature is medium. Usually goes between 40 and 70 degrees in the summer. It can get even warmer than that in the summer, and it can get cold sometimes in the winter. But generally, you're seeing a nice range of 20 to 30 degrees most of the year. So this is the point I'm trying to make is that it rains consistently here, but it stops raining pretty consistently during the spring, at the end of the spring, and then in summer we get amazing weather. It can get quite warm. There's usually a week or two where it's above 80, and we all just sort of, very few houses in the area have central air or air conditioning of any kind, including ours. And the second floor of a lot of houses will trap heat as it rises, making it very difficult to enjoy yourself on a hot day. I live on the second floor of this house, so. but I think that puts us in a unique position because I think we value sunlight more than places where it's just sunny all the time. Like I think people in places like California probably take it for granted. They might curse the rain. They might, gosh, I wanted to do something today, but now it's raining. Of course, it's typical. Whereas around here, you just go, oh yeah, it's gonna rain. It's always gonna rain. The forecast for tomorrow is for rain, which is why I took a walk today, and I really enjoyed myself. It tuckered me out, but it was beautiful. It was just puts you at peace. Of course, walking for an hour and a half will fatigue you and make it easier to go to sleep and sleep more thoroughly during the night. I remember that from my physical education classes. And it also has the added side effect of me talking like I'm singing a lullaby. I'm sort of putting myself to sleep. I mean, I could probably stay up for another hour, but I sort of want to crawl to bed. The only other thing I did of note, besides play a lot of video games, was I finally opened a pair of the Dinobot figures. Oh, I probably didn't mention that. I bought a couple of Dinobot figures in the new Power of the Primes line of Transformers last weekend, but I saved them to open until this weekend because if I buy a load of toys, I like to sort of spread out the opening of them. Because I sort of savor them more. I sort of wish I hadn't opened up so many things the previous couple of weeks because, you know, if you only open up one a day, that you sort of play with it a little bit more that day, and you go, and you can open up the next one the next day and enjoy that. And it's sort of, I do understand the joy of opening things, even though I generally try not to do unboxing videos except for that one time, which was embarrassing. I get it. I get why people love opening parcels and packages and boxes, and it's just a single moment of here it is, and then that moment will be gone forever because very few people want to open the same thing over and over again, and very few people will get the same amount of enjoyment over opening the same thing over and over again. Although I hear the canisters that have tennis balls in them are something special. I don't know why, but I don't play much tennis. I don't play any tennis. But I recognize that I am just prattling. I had half a mind to actually do a recording on my phone while I was walking. There's a wonderful little dog park with trails, and it's beautiful every time of year. This is the Evergreen State, and most of that forest area is evergreen, so it's green even right now. The rest of the trees are just, you can tell they're just on the cusp of starting to bud a little bit. We won't see a lot of buds or any green until April, I'm sure. But for now, days like this just make me happy to be alive. Even though it's going to rain tomorrow, I promise it would be better. Let's try that again. This has been my vlog. I'm Eric Spornitz, and I promise tomorrow will be better.